Hi, and welcome. My name is Matt, but over the years on this channel, I've been known as Crossing Talk Admin, Rails of the Midwest, Matt Coffin, and now Railfan America across multiple platforms. I started this channel in 2011 when I was only 13 years old with a similar goal in mind as many others, to simply take videos of trains. I did not care at the time how good the video was, how good the power was, or even necessarily where I was. All I cared about when I was 13 was being in a spot with lots of trains and occasionally getting a horn show from a friendly crew. Over the years, I continued to do just this, with my interests over time shifting more towards scenic shots and better trains. In 2016, I got my first DSLR camera as a present and picked up still photography. For the next few years, I would continue to take videos while also taking still photos of trains. However, over time, my interest in taking videos simply waned, while my skill in taking still photos became markedly better. I had noticed that my videos would simply never match my heightening standards, with or without still photography. In early 2021, I decided to take a hiatus from videography for that very reason, and focus solely on improving my still photos. The last public video I have on this channel was uploaded on January 3rd, 2021. A couple of years ago, I floated the idea of possibly getting back into videos, but I did not simply just want to take train videos again because, like I said, they wouldn't match my up standard, which means I got an idea pretty quickly. What about focusing on the behind the scenes aspects of railfanning? I could focus on the early mornings getting up, the 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. alarms, the small towns I visit, the food I eat, and the people I meet. However, I had very little interest in making that a reality until late 2023. I was preparing for a move to Minnesota when that idea that I had a couple of years prior came back into my head. I wanted to start this new channel concept, and I wanted to document this trip. And now, here we are. Come along for the ride on this 8-day road trip from Southern California to Minnesota as we drive through some amazing scenery, as well as some bland scenery, have some good eats, as well as some rough eats, and complete many side missions along the way. Without further ado, let's hit the road! Now, because I was an idiot, I still had some last-minute packing to do that very morning, so I woke up at 2:30 a.m., did that last-minute packing, said some very hard goodbyes to some family that had been supporting me for the past year, and hit the road. And soon enough, I was saying goodbye to my old stomping grounds in Cajon Pass, and already approaching the desert oasis of Barstow. First gas stop of the trip. As you can see, it's still dark out. Sun's trying to rise over there. Should be a good sunrise. There's a few decent high clouds. Haven't been able to do much this morning besides B-roll since I left so early. I haven't had any light on my face. Great start to the trip, huh? This will be my last time paying California gas prices. Granted, this is a bit high, this is a bit inflated. Back in Barstow, it was in the mid to upper fours, but trust me, between here and the Arizona state line, it only gets worse. I totally forgot to record putting the nozzle in. Oopsies. As I merge back onto Interstate 40 and the sun really begins to rise, it's now time for that time of day in each video where I ramble on to the camera about my plans for the day.
Hello viewers of
my channel. Welcome to my sort of new channel concept. Like I said back at the gas station, up until now I've really only had the opportunity to film like B-roll and stuff because it's been so dark. But now I have the sun shining right on my face. I'm not sure if you can see out the window or not. I'm in the desert right now, still in California. Today I'm going to be driving all the way to Gallup, New Mexico. It's going to be wild. This is the longest day of the trip, roughly 9 hours non-stop. So right now it's about 7:15. I was looking at the clock. I left Riverside, which is where I came from, at about 4. So I'm hoping to be in Gallup with the time change by about 5 or 6. Can't guarantee that. Something I was talking about are the places that I go to along the way when I was discussing the behind the scenes aspects of this hobby earlier. And I feel like the spirit of the trip should be going to those locally owned restaurants.
Now for that reason, I have decided to impose this restriction on myself. I am only allowed to visit chain restaurants twice during this trip. Now, for the purposes of this video, I am considering a restaurant with 5 or more locations to be a chain. I have devised a couple of exceptions to this rule though, simply to make it a bit more reasonable. First of all, I am completely allowed to go wherever I want for breakfast. The only thing about that is I must visit at least 2 local breakfast establishments during the duration of this trip. That can be a donut shop, a breakfast burrito place, whatever. That's fair game. Another exception that we will see later in the video is I can go to a chain restaurant as long as I am visiting the oldest existing location of said chain, and that will become relevant later on in the series. Now, for the purposes of this rule, gas stations do count as chains. However, I'm only talking about the big chains such as, say, Maverick or Casey's, the ones that have a bunch of locations that sell food. What I am not counting as a chain for this purpose is any gas station that is independently owned but runs under a big brand for selling gas only. So any gas station that is marketed as a Cenex or a Sinclair or a Conoco that is actually independently owned, that will not count as a chain. However, at no point during this video does that become relevant. Now, what happens if I have truly no options except chains? Well, I'll get to that here in a second.
This location right here, Park Moabie Road. This is the last exit on Interstate 40 before you enter Arizona, leaving California. What an amazing view. I'm going to savor the desert and the mountains while I still have it, because starting Friday, I'm away from it all. One more thing I just remembered I forgot to mention when I was talking about the restaurant restrictions earlier is, what if it's super late at night or I'm in the middle of nowhere, whatever, and my only choices are chain restaurants? Well, that's why I packed this. This big bag of Kroger trail mix. Enough nutrition to sustain you for a full meal. And if I truly have no other options other than chains, I'll still forego the chains unless I feel like breaking the restriction one of my 2 allowed times, and have some trail mix.
Seligman, Arizona, it's lunchtime.
Now, I've heard some people call it Seligman, some people call it Seligman. Whatever it is, it's home to the Roadkill Cafe. Located on historic Route 66, the Roadkill Cafe brings in people from all over the world. In fact, just when I was there, I met tourists who were visiting the historic highway from Germany. In looking inside, you'll see that they heavily leaned into the Wild West and roadkill themes, both in terms of decor and in terms of the names of the menu items. I mean, look at these names. They're insane. Really plays into the theme. Really great ambiance at this restaurant. I ended up getting the Toad Off the Road burger, made with an elk patty. I'll get to how I felt about it here in a second. Now, for the duration of this trip, I'm going to give a rating to every non-chain restaurant I go to and give some commentary just to perhaps put some good publicity out for these places. Now, for the Roadkill Cafe, I think that the ambiance and the friendly service alone are enough to be worthy of a stop if you're ever out in Arizona driving the historic Route 66. As for the elk burger I had, I'm going to be rating it with a score of 9 out of 10. It was very nice and moist. There was quite a bit of natural meat flavor to it, although I do wish there was just a bit more seasoning. That would have pushed it over the edge to a 9.5 or even a 10. And you guys, the fries. Those fries. Those were absolutely amazing. Without spoiling too much, those are the best fries I've had on this trip. US Highway 66 was first certified as a US highway in 1926, running from Chicago, Illinois, all the way to Santa Monica, California. It was unfortunately decertified in 1985. Now, I don't need to go over the entire history of Route 66, as you can simply do that by looking it up online. However, stretches of the old US highway have been preserved and reclassified as state highways. One of the most notorious portions that has been preserved is the stretch running from near Ash Fork, Arizona to Kingman, Arizona, which includes the town of Seligman, which is where I currently am. What you are looking at is the Seligman Historical District, the former commercial center of the town, which was actually placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2005. Shortly after leaving Seligman and passing through Ash Fork, we enter the green and lush Coconino National Forest, with the San Francisco peaks very much visible from all around us. Call it a desert oasis, if you will.
Alright, so I triple checked when I left my old house to check and make sure I had everything. Well, it turns out I had a slight packing mishap. I forgot my camera charger and the battery that was in the camera charger. Thankfully, I had the spare battery for my camera, my still picture camera, so I was still able to take that shot near Needles earlier. But it's on half charge and I don't have anything to charge it, so once it runs out of charge, I'm kind of screwed. So I'm coming up to Flagstaff. There's a specialty store in Flagstaff that thankfully sells the kind of charger that my camera uses. Specialty store, they have it. Great. I'll show you guys what the specialty store is right now. It's Best Buy. I'm at Best Buy. I got the back secured, thank God. Dude, if I couldn't find a charger here, I was going to be completely hosed. Like, I probably would have run out of battery tomorrow while I was on Raton. So it worked out really well. So thank God I don't have a restriction on this trip that says no chain retail stores, otherwise I would have been completely hosed. Hello, people. So off to my my right currently is the BNSF Transcon. I am still on the Seligman sub, technically, because I haven't gotten to Winslow yet. But I just made the decision to forego the BNSF Transcon for the rest of the day in favor of the Apache Railroad, which I literally just remembered existed. The current time is 3:26 p.m. Most of the photos I saw on Flickr have the Apache leaving Holbrook at like 4, so I'll be cutting it close, but who knows, maybe I'll run into something, maybe I'll get lucky. I don't exactly have the biggest knack for luck, but may as well try it, right?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna beat around the bush here, guys. I had absolutely zero expectations at that time that I would catch it, and I did not end up catching it. I drove down the line for a bit to see if maybe they had already left, and nothing, so I just decided to carry on.
Alright, just caught 2 trains in blue evening light at this beautiful spot. Look at the bridge over there. And with that, I think it's about time to call it a day. Gonna head straight towards Gallup now. Gonna make a beeline there. Get there hopefully by about 6 o'clock, maybe a little bit later, but definitely early enough for all the good restaurants to still be open. See you there.
Little did I know at that time that once I got to Gallup, about an hour later, I would be exhausted, way too exhausted to even think about dinner. Therefore, I went to the hotel and went straight to bed, therefore spelling the abrupt end to this video. And every other video in the series is going to have some sort of ending monologue or whatever to signify the end of the video, but because I didn't get to record one for this video, instead enjoy some clips from the next video. On the next episode of Super Awesome Epic Across the Country Road Trip 8000, I take on Raton Pass. Will I even make it through Albuquerque, or will I get thrown in jail after road raging from the rush hour traffic? Will I witness a fiery explosion on the freeway? How many crossing signals can I hurt the feelings of? Will I even catch Amtrak? Will I go on extremely socially awkward rambling sessions? I mean, the answer to that is yes, you should already know that. Will I like my hotel so much that I choose to live in it forever? And last but not least, will I take risks?
I took a pretty big risk.
Find out all that and much more in the next episode of this series, which will probably release in 6 months because I'm very lazy. But hey, you guys will at least receive 5 days notice, so that makes it right, okay? Okay.